let's get into the big topic of open source, something that we actually say at Red Hat.
This is so awesome.
We are an open culture that believes in the importance of
What is that process that a developer, or let's say,
as the Kubernetes ecosystem really boomed?
Oh, we're back. We did it.
It was a minute.
All right. Good morning, GitOpsians. We are back after. It's been a weird year this year. Between having surgery and being gone for 3 months, and then I took a 20-day vacation with my family.
That's right. Yeah, all over
Europe. Yeah, we went everywhere. So yeah, we haven't done a lot of the stream this year. We do have some exciting things lined up for the end of the year and going into next year. But I'm really excited to have Blaize back. We'll reintroduce you in a second, Blaize. But Johnny, I think you said we have a couple of minor announcements, yeah?
Yes. So for all those out in the world that use Helm, there was a release last week at KubeCon. I wasn't there, but they announced Helm 4 came out. And I actually was online and I came across it today and I was like, holy crap, I cannot believe that this actually got released. And I haven't heard anything about it. So I was looking in some of the chat rooms internally, and one person has like a crazy chart where they utilize a bunch of different functions and things that Helm does. And they were going from Helm 3 to Helm 4, and they said it just works transparently, no issues or anything like that. So hopefully that's a good sign for everybody else that uses it. Hopefully there's not a huge learning curve. And then the other one is our good friend Christian Hernandez and Andy Block have written another book. It's called Argo CD Up and Running. You can actually get the ebook from the Acuity website. Yeah, so go and check it out. I think Hillary, you actually have like a hard copy. I'm gonna, I always support you guys when you guys come out with the book, so I always buy one. So I guess I'm gonna have to go out and buy one, and then get autographs and stuff later on. So that's the two big ones for me.
Yeah, the last one, it's kind of a big deal for me. They announced Microsoft Ignite is this week. It's actually in San Francisco, so really close by me, although I didn't get to go, unfortunately. They actually announced the general availability of OpenShift virtualization for Azure Red Hat OpenShift. And so in case you don't know, now you do know, Azure Red Hat OpenShift is what I work on here at Red Hat. It is my day job. This is my fun job. This is a very, very cool culmination of efforts from Red Hat engineers, Microsoft engineers, the open source KubeVirt community. It's really, really neat. So I'm really excited about it. And of course, you can use KubeVirt. Everything that we needed to do to make this happen is in the KubeVirt upstream as well, which is also really, really exciting. So yeah, those are the announcements, which now means we get to reintroduce Blaize. So Blaize, you were here almost 20 episodes ago, a little more, because you were episode 72. And if people have not watched that episode, that is your next thing that you need to do, because that one was very cool. We were on a fun, let's learn about how video games work kick at that time on the stream. And Blaize was like, hey, look, I got Doom running in a Kubernetes cluster in the cloud, and the sound pipes through, and there's like very little latency. And then he showed off all the open source projects that he used to do it. And I mean, he showed other cool things in that demo besides, but Doom was my favorite part.
Yeah.
So, but you also do things like write tech books, are, a pretty decent engineer from what I hear, and see, you might know one or two things. So go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more, because I don't think I know what your day job is anymore, other than being awesome.
I don't know about the awesome part, but my day job now is I work at an insurance company now. I recently changed I got out of consulting and went into back into corporate IT to kind of take a break from consulting, and then I've been loving that. I head up our AI efforts as well as our enterprise architecture. So I'm kind of doing more risk stuff, and I get to do a lot of the cool, fun stuff with AI because that's, of course, everybody's favorite thing nowadays. And so I've been playing a lot in that world for the last, I guess, since right around the last time I was on the show. It was really I kind of pivoted and in like tech wise more into AI just because it just was what the demand was for me at the time, and so that's what I've been living and breathing for the last probably 2 years now, and it's been a lot of fun. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today. So hopefully it's not just another boring AI talk, or I'm not really even going to talk. I'm just going to show a bunch of stuff. And what are some of the kinds of things that you can do with it? That's why like Hillary asked me for a title. I have no idea what to call this. I just called it AI Shenanigans because there's really no like specific like, hey, I'm going to focus on like LLMs today. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to like talk about AI and kind of in a broad sense, and then talk about like different use cases and how you can use it. So that's the essence of it.
Yeah, that sounds great. And as you know, we're not that serious here. We're not that formal here. It's just nerds talking about technology and having a great time. And we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your expertise.
Absolutely. Like outside of that, I'm a book writer. I write fiction as well as tech books, and actually I'm trying to branch out a little bit more beyond that. I wrote a couple of small tech books for O'Reilly, and trying to work on some nonfiction right now. We'll see how that goes. And then beyond that, I do photography and speak. I was actually at a conference last week doing speaking in Europe, in Prague. I'm a Microsoft MVP in AI and all that fun stuff. So yeah, lots of interest. Master of none. So
yeah. I actually read your fiction works, and I enjoyed them.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, I think I mentioned I was like partway through the first book when you were here last. I did not finish the series. I'm not gonna lie. There was an ooh shiny, and I went on to a different series because I like that. But I made it through the first two and really liked them. I keep meaning to get back to it. I got a lot of a very very well constructed world, but it's also a lot to keep in my head. So I almost feel like I have to start over.
Yeah, it's like I finished the series. The series is done, so the sixth book is out. So that series
I bought them all.
Yeah, so I recently published the last one, and it's on. Yeah, I again wrote it. I might pick that world back up. I actually have I started another project more for a younger audience. I think that I'm going to try that and see how that goes, and we'll see. That's in my fiction writing. So yeah, fun stuff. I enjoy that, and it's also fun to figure out how to incorporate like all the AI stuff into like writing. Like not because you don't want to let the AI write it for you, but like for someone like me that has a terrible like I can't edit for it to flip or can't proofread because I'm like I don't read like normal people do. AI does that great, and so I just like the.
Oh no! Did we lose him?
The perfect time to freeze. It's so
perfect freeze frame. Oh man, let me. Oh wait, we've got audio back. Blaize, we're kind of losing you. I think we lost him. I'm gonna wait. Are you back? I think maybe Blaize, you back?
Hey.
Nope. The what do you call it? The computer gremlins, sunspots today are real.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's twice in 10 minutes it's happened. Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
That was fine.
Yeah, so how about we just dive in and start showing stuff? How's that?
He is an AI agent. sorry. This made me giggle. This is a good comment. So actually I really like this comment. Right, AI gives us new focus, but I guess we're working more like how do we use I'm going to just abridge the question. Like, what's a practical way to incorporate AI into real projects? And I think that is the biggest people have, because a lot of AI work feels like AI for the sake of AI.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a conversation we're having internally as well. It's how do we get, is he back or is he frozen again? No. Dang. Like, how do we do AI with intention is the conversation we're having right now. And I think one of the biggest challenges most organizations have in general is project planning and scope. It's hard. Project planning and scope is legitimately a difficult skill. And so when you have something where you don't know a whole lot about it, you do just have to dive in and do experimentation. You do have to do the thing for the sake of the thing, because it's the only way to wrap your head around what it means. And then after you have a concept of it, then you can kind of be like, all right, here are our business problems. And you really need to focus it from like a business problem. Like, what is our business problem? If your business is external customer facing, then it's about like serving them. If you're a platform engineering team, right, your business is supporting the internal teams. Those are your customers, right? So then you got to really put in, yeah, Blaize, we can see you again. Got to really put in the like, just, you got to tie it to a business case. And then once you have a business case, like, okay, here is our business case that we believe we can solve with AI. Then you break down the scope of work. You put some guardrails around that. It is this, it's not this. And then you go into your actual like proof of concept and early MVP stages of that project. That's really what you have to do. You kind of got to go way back to the beginning and be like, how does project management work? That's how to approach it. If you approach it from just the engineering side and you don't really break down the work and define a scope, you're going to be spinning your wheels and you may not be building the right thing with AI. So to recap, project management skills are awesome. Every engineer should have them. Ideally, every engineering organization has a very talented project manager. Unfortunately, that's not always true. Start with a business case. After you've done some just blanket experimentation, do carve out the time, do some spikes. If you identify a business case first, that makes sense too. And then you can do your spikes along that business case to see if that's the right business case. But at the end of the day, it's going to be AI for the sake of AI a little bit. And then you're going to create a project, break it down, scope the work, and dive in.
Yeah, you need to, absolutely. That's I'm actually doing a big enterprise rollout right now of several AI projects, and it's like, what's the business case for X, Y, and Z? If there's not one, it's like, see ya.
Then it's technical debt. If you don't have a solid business case, what you have is technical debt.
Precisely. I think I'm back now. Maybe this thing will work. The tech will hold, and we can talk about demos.
Did you forget to do your sacrifice to the demo gods this morning?
It's in fact, my demos all work. That's the funny thing about it. It's just the other gremlins in the world that are, networking gremlins, or the AT&T gremlins, or whatever.
Whatever it is. Well, don't even worry about it. Like we always say, we're not that serious here. We're just some nerds talking about some tech. So let's go ahead and dive in when you're ready.
Yeah, sure. I'll start. I just wanted to so preface this. This is kind of loosely based on the talk I gave last week in Prague, and I was talking more about like the different places you can run AI, and the idea behind that talk was trying to challenge people to think about why you don't have to default to the cloud every time. Why sometimes it makes a lot more sense to run AI in maybe an edge case on the edge, right? Not an edge case, but on the edge, or on an IoT device, or push it to the end user's device. Do things like that allow you to spread out the AI rather than just all centralize it in a single location. And so that was the basic premise of the talk. But I wanted to kind of go through a couple of the demos that I've used in that talk and other talks to kind of illustrate that. So some of these are visual, so I'm gonna have to turn my camera off briefly. But the first one is just like something that I wrote for IoT. Like I wrote a book on IoT, and part of that book was largely based on work that I had done in the IoT space. I was doing a lot of IoT architecture prior to picking up AI, and that book basically describes the process. I didn't get as long as right before the AI boom though, so it doesn't really talk about it. But in any case, one thing that I use as a demo was just using like an IoT camera. So I'm gonna turn off my camera here and run a little demo. And this is just like running something on Raspberry Pi. Let me share my screen, and then you'll see my camera again. Let's see if I can. Let's just share the whole window, entire screen. Yeah, that's all I want. There, how's that?
Give us a second. We'll need to do the back end thing to make it actually show, I think. There we go.
Let's try this. That's cute. I'm going to use that for a little bit later. Let's go ahead and start this right here. So you should be able to see some code here. Let's see if this actually starts, because it looks like my webcam still on because of the here. I was wondering if I could temporarily disable this without like disconnecting, because I did turn my camera off. Okay, let's try it. Let's just run and see what happens.
Oh, I was muted apparently.
And this is a little app that it should just what this is doing behind the scenes is this is supposed to be running a like an IT device. It's just a very small model where the model is actually loaded, like could fit into the memory space on the edge. And this one, let's see what I need to do. This is because you can't find my environment, but stop. Okay, this one's not working for some reason. Come on, give me back my computer. It's okay. Let's and okay, here we go. I need to set my environment variable so it finds the correct version of .NET C# here. That's what I'm doing. And then let's see, .NET. That should work. Now it's building. So because I have multiple versions of .NET running on this machine, so I manually select them using environment variables. And so this project I wrote, I recently updated this to .NET 10, and let's see if this actually works. So this is actually running on just creating a little live stream here to hopefully show you like this if this works. This 5,000, is that the word?
Is this where I get to give you so much grief about programming on Windows?
Also, make sure you do your mandatory AI training by November 26th.
Oh, do we have that? Is that a thing?
No, it was on his screen.
Oh, I
It
didn't
was like
catch
a
that.
big tile on the web.
So I can't even give him too much grief about programming on Windows because, as anybody can guess, working on a product called Azure Red Hat OpenShift, we have to do a little bit of that ourselves.
It's like I'm not letting go of my camera for some reason. No, I disabled. Is there a way to disable the camera?
Oh, darn, we lost him entirely. Oh, that's a bummer. I understand what's happening though. I think he's right. Restream is not letting, like you said, letting go of the camera. It still wants to hold on to it as an option.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if he needs to add like another like under the video settings. Yeah. Anyways, it probably, or maybe he's got to do something through OBS or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard to say because I'm not really familiar with the way the drivers work and like with the camera plus the browser and the kind of connection there.
Mm-hmm.
Blaize, we're sitting here
Hello,
trying
I'm
to
back
figure out how to
again.
get your
This
camera
thing,
back so that it will work in your demo.
well, yeah, that's the funny thing about it is it's if I turn it off, it doesn't actually release it. That's kind of
What
annoying.
about
That seems like it'd be a bug.
in the top of your browser, like by the URL, where does it have the? I don't know if you're using Chrome or a different browser, but does it have like the settings there? Can you tell the browser to release the camera?
I was using Edge.
Oh God, I can't help you there. Who knows how Edge works?
So I was with a customer like a month ago, I think, in Germany, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we use Windows." And I immediately, I'm like, "I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. Like, I would love to help, but I have no idea what to do."
So yeah, I'm just having a ton of like issues today now because this the whole thing is just. Can you see my screen there? Yeah, you're seeing the inception there.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay, now let's try this one more time. Let's try to go to this. Let me reload the restart the app, and that should grab the camera now. So let's do a shutdown app is just not liking the like energy.
It is interesting because this presents such a fun technical situation where things can work so well until the internet gets involved.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now I think we're good here. It's shut the app down. I'm gonna hit .NET Run again, and this should give me stream. Okay, it should see my camera. It's turning on. I can see it happening. There we go. Now it should be. Now it should work. And let's do 7, and then you'll get to see. Hopefully, get to see my smiling face one more time. Yeah, there it is.
Woo!
If you can you see that? Yeah, that's working now. So what this is doing behind the scenes is it's running a small model, kind of slowly, on the laptop, and it's using real-time inferencing. So it's grabbing the screen from the camera, and then in real time doing the object detection on the stream, and then drawing the bounding boxes and putting the percentages on there, and then restreaming that out. So this is like a real-time AI right here. So this is like where you might have a use case where you're doing like things on a factory line or something like that, where you have things moving down a factory assembly line, and you're looking for anomaly detection, or maybe it's a security environment or whatever it might be. You end up with something like this, and this is just using some C# and some lightweight models. So I could probably optimize it to run better. It actually was running a lot better when I was running it last week, but hey, it's working now. So fun. Yeah, there you go. So you can see that I'm just not making this up as I go.
No, this is fun. So this reminds me of something that my husband worked on. He used to work at a company known as Pather.io, and it was computer vision through security cameras. But what they were doing was anonymizing the data and then just tracking traffic patterns through retail stores, so that a lot of times, especially in the US, like certain I always thought this company was so fun. certain display areas, like if a company wants their product to be there, like Coca-Cola in a grocery store wants a big tower of Coca-Cola cases, it has to be in a
Right.
like a prime real estate spot, and they pay for that, right? So what this like mapping would do is identify those prime real estate spots so that they could sell those product placements to companies that wanted to have their products more prominently in the store. And I remember one very fun aspect of that was when they were correcting for seeing eye dogs. So they had a whole dog detection project, which is really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm speaking. I can let me talk about some of these other ones that we have that I have here. So the other in this particular context are let me get Chrome up here. These are basically ones running in a browser, and like one of the cool things you can do with this, and you mentioned a dog, is that one of using something very similar to what you said there. I have this where you can actually use like let me shut this thing down because I'm going to use this for another demo in a minute. You can use like in the browser, do any kind of like server side call, so like run everything within the browser's memory space using technologies that are built into the browser. So there's like two like open source projects. One of them is called TensorFlow.js, and the other one is called Transformers.js, and it uses Hugging Face to do things like image captioning and image object detection. So let's see if this one works. Because I just add this one. I think it's working in the background. Yeah, I think it's running.
And actually, so just to talk about the value of good image captioning and being able to generate that kind of more on the fly is really great for people. It's like an accessibility thing. So for the blind, who use smartphones and cell phones. And so for the image captioning to be there and to be able to say, oh, this is what this image is, and like the phone to say it to them, that's a huge accessibility feature. And the capabilities of AI to improve our ability to meet accessibility needs, I think, is under talked about.
And that brings up a good point, because this could be done completely disconnected from the internet. So you don't have to have an internet connection for this to work, because this is all running in the browser's memory. And you can reasonably write a mobile app or like a PWA or something like that, that would basically leverage the model in the memory space of the actual device that it's running on, rather than actually make a call out to the internet. Because everything you see here, the model is loaded into the memory of the browser, and then it does all the inferencing on the browser, and then it wrote that caption without ever sending that image up to the internet. Basically, I just opened the image in the web page, it loaded the image, and then sent it over to Transformers.js, and then passed it into the model, and the model then captioned it, and then I'm just displaying the results right then. So it's not real time, but this is actually a fairly interesting way of doing that. Actually, I wrote a little app that I use this for, mostly because I'm lazy. I don't like captioning images, and I do photography. I like to upload them into the internet. So I wrote this little app basically just to caption images for me automatically. I upload an image and it just captions it. And sometimes it doesn't get it right, but most of the time it does. So I can save myself from having to think about what the image caption should be. So yeah, it's just, they say laziness is the mother of invention, not or necessity. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it's usually necessity, but I do feel like for people in engineering, it's laziness. It's like, I don't ever want to do this again. I'm going to spend 15 hours and 16 cups of coffee getting some automation in place to do it for me.
Yeah, and that's kind of what bore this whole idea right here out, was just like, I don't want to do this. I hate captioning images. I just want to click upload, and it captions the image, resizes it, uploads it to the web page, and creates the galleries and the tags and all that fun stuff.
I bet it could also do the SEO for you as well.
It does. In fact, I'm going to talk about SEO in another one. Talking about like in the same context, you can do like that same kind of object detection in real time too. So this is another one of those, basically the same idea what we saw a minute ago, with the real time object detection in the browsers. Well, this is a probably, it actually runs really well. I was surprised how well this ran when I built this, because it's doing this even better than it was when I was running it in C#, which is a more compiled language. This is running JavaScript, and well, I guess web GPU behind the scenes and some WASM, but it's basically it's just using some TensorFlow.js and web GPU acceleration and using a model, a real-time model, and in the memory of the browser to do the image object detection in real time too. So very similar to what we saw. I don't think this model is as good as the other one I had, so it doesn't nearly, I don't think it's as rich. I think it's got like 8 or probably less than 20 different objects it can detect. The other one I was running had like 80, so it was able to detect a lot more stuff. So that also contributes to its speed, but again, nothing to it.
Sometimes less is more, though, right? If you have a very focused need, then you want to just have your search index be along that focused need. You'll get, and the performance is the value. If you don't know what you need, then obviously a larger index is better, because then you'll get accuracy.
Yeah, exactly. And I built my first like foray into this whole thing was I was doing some custom model building. I built some software. I wanted to like do some scientific work on gathering data about birds. And so I built a model to recognize bird species. And I put a camera on my bird feeder and just to see the birds that landed on the feeder. And so it basically did motion detection. And then when it detected motion on the feeder, it would then use a object classification model, object detection model to detect the species of bird that was in the image. And then it would just track that over time and get some data back that could be used for scientific analysis or developing a better feed that attracts more species, or whatever it might be. There's a lot of things like that. It was just a little project I was doing kind of in the early days of this stuff, but I haven't touched that code in probably 4 or 5 years now. So, but
that reminds me
hard
of
to believe. Like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That reminds me of an app my sister uses. She has this app that it just listens to the bird song around you and tells you what birds are nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And she did this because at our mom's house, the birds are so loud from like 6 a.m. And she was just kind of like, what are these that are doing this? And so then I got the text message of like, oh, it's this many birds and so on. And I was like, I love that for you, that you went through the process of filling it out. But why did you text me about it at 6 a.m.?
So I don't get over then. But the way that works is actually the same technology that drives this, because they're actually using image classification models for sound. The way that it works is they're just basically creating an image that represents the sound spectrum, and they're looking for intensity like within that space, and they're able to use object detection models for computer vision in analyzing sound waves. And
that's so cool.
And a friend of mine built a very similar application where he took where they were using it to detect illegal logging in the Amazon. He took he took basically chainsaw sounds, built a model around that, and then used it. They put these really sensitive microphones up in around the forest, and they would bring the sound back, and then do AI to analyze it, and then use it to do object detection. But it really was just looking for the signature of chainsaw noises. And if they found it, they could then use, obviously respond to it to stop illegal logging in parts of the Amazon rainforest. So
that was a really good use case.
Yeah.
It was like incredible. I was like, that's brilliant. I mean, like, I wish I would have thought of it.
I know, right? Now that you say it, it seems so obvious, but somehow I would never have gotten there on my own.
Yeah, exactly. The bird thing was like a fairly obvious case to me, like, because I'd sat there like with a pen in the past and just done it manually for like 10 or 15 minutes while I'm eating breakfast. I was like, I could write a program to do this. I could write an AI object detection to do this very same thing, but run it 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And so I did, and it was useful. That was my case. That was my use case. I just built a like an enclosed camera and then hung it on the bird feeder, and it worked fine. So I guess if you're trying to detect illegal logging, then that's one way to do it. Here's a fun one. That's kind of in the same one. It's using AI to do. This one's using facial detection. I like this one because this is funny. This is just a lot of fun. My kids have a blast with this one. If it'll load. Ryan, browser. Oh,
There it goes.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is using landmark feature detection, which is another kind of AI where it's basically it's if you've ever seen like apps, now you get to look at me with googly eyes and wax lips. You've seen those apps where you can put like hats on yourself or like I'm doing here with funny things on your face or whatever. That's using an AI, basically an image detection where you have this mask. Like that's why I put the dots on the screen like this to show you where it's doing what they call landmark feature detection on your face. And this could be obviously facial detection, but this is kind of just saying here's each one of those dots corresponds to a space. So like there's a dot that corresponds to the corner of your eye when it's kind of the top and center and so on. And then you can map on an object to those different spots, and then it controls the positioning of those. So I can move my head around and the objects turn with it. If I go close or whatever, the objects kind of move with it. Or if I get really big eyes or little eyes, smile real big, those kinds of things. And so the way the objects are detected right there is it's just a fun way to do it. And I let my kids play with this every now and then. They like to put the googly eyes on and get the wax lips, and that's what you need to do is record this of me talking while I got this going on and put that on your opening video.
Yeah, we are.
That's absolutely going to have to be it. I'll use OBS to splice that clip in. It's going down.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the fact that we need to change our opening video to actually have us in it, Johnny.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
It so needs to have this right here in it so that you can have like something that breaks it up a little bit. But anyway, all I have to say is you get that kind of thing with AI as well. That one was actually fairly easy to build. Using some of the open source available from TensorFlow. So they built the model for that, and then it was actually really easy to hook it up, and then had to do a little bit of geometry to figure out the positioning of the eyes and the angle of the lips and so on. But that was actually not hard either. But yeah, it was fun to make that one and to use it. So those are a couple of the ones. Real-time audio transcription is built in the browser, but you don't have to use that one. You can use like some of the open source models as well. This is another very useful one I use it all the time for like when I'm building apps. It's just text to speech rather than speech to text whenever you're just talking to a computer. So you can say, hey, I'm talking to a computer and it's going to transcribe what I'm saying. This is probably no big deal because most people do this every day. But what this is doing is it's actually using Whisper, which is, oh, that's not what I said. I didn't say Doug and Duke, but that's because I'm using a small model here. If I would have used a better model, it probably would have been more accurate. But this is actually loading Whisper into again, like I said, loading into the browser's memory and doing the AI inferencing right in the context of the browser here. It's just for using the browser's APIs to record the sound that it's creating like essentially a sound file, sending that into the model. The model then understands that, and then it can then transcribe it, and it spits the results back out. And there's a way to do this in real time. I've never taken the time to actually write that, but it's one of those things that you can do whenever I get around to doing that. So let's see if there's anything I want to do with like, oh, here's one. This one's kind of fun with toxicity analysis here. So this is another fun one that you can do where you can put in insults and it'll tell you if they're toxic or not. So if my favorite movie is The Princess Bride. So if you know anything about it, you know, when Wesley's talking to Humperdinck, he says, "You
Oh
were
yeah.
buffoon." Let's see if that's a toxic statement. And that, yeah, it's detecting that as 96% toxic. Or you can say, "You miserable vomitous mass." In the same dialogue, he has that one, and that's even more toxic, I suppose. So yeah, certainly, you can put insults into that, and
That's fun. This actually yeah, it's Johnny's turn to have tech problems. Okay, so I have a preteen, which is a scary thing. My two children, the oldest is about to be 15, terrifying. The youngest just turned 11, right? And my 11-year-old is actually like using me as a toxicity analysis. Like this is actually one of those interesting things where there's a real use case here for especially as my child's on the spectrum, so there's some things that he doesn't just intuitively get.
Right, I know. Yeah, one of my kiddos too.
I mean, also me too, same. So I went through these same growing pains that he's going through. So him and I have some interesting conversations about this because like one of him and his friends at school, they were having roasting competitions with each other. And they got in trouble for these roasting competitions. And he was not understanding why. And so we were kind of going through that. And then we were going through like other ways to joke around with each other that would not be
require you insulting one another. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this exact type of thing could be really beneficial for caregivers, because it should definitely be used with guidance. But caregivers, for people going through those explorations, especially like children, even children who not on the spectrum, honestly, to kind of be like, yeah, okay, let's analyze what we've said. Like, oh, okay, like that's this. How could we have done that better? And this is not just about like joking or anything else. I'm also overly blunt sometimes, and I don't always know why that's a problem until someone breaks it down for me.
I'm working on a prototype right now that's taking this kind of idea right here, where you're doing some sentiment analysis, which that's essentially what this is, and combining it with the voice recording, and then using LLMs. So it's using like a couple of different like approaches to build like a kind of like a data set that then you can use that you can then analyze to offer like coaching advice for people. So like you could record like a call, like what we're doing right now, even, and then with that call, you could take the output from that, and it could analyze the voice patterns, the language used, and it could the actual ideas and so on, and then offer some really like practical advice on how to like improve your presentation skills, or improve your whatever that you really want to work on, right? I need to become a more fluent speaker, or I want to be less abrasive when I talk, or less blunt, or whatever. And it can give you advice on that kind of stuff. So kind of working on a prototype that's combining a couple of these different ideas into a single like app that would give us that kind of output. So it's just something that I'm working on as a prototype internally for our company to perhaps leverage for that very thing. And the great thing about it is the data never leaves the company. It's all self-contained. So we don't have to worry about like a PII and all that fun stuff. It's just kind of there. We analyze it and nuke it, and then just use it for coaching purposes, and not for for no other reason than that. So there's tons of applications in that space for it. You're exactly right about that, and I could definitely see that, like using you bring it up to my daughter. I was like, that would be a perfect like little app. Hey, write a little mobile app, right? Talk to the AI and say, is this bad or good? And it just gives you like a smiley face or a frowny face or something, to make it easy to understand. There's another one here that I wanted to look at too, which is sentiment analysis. This one's like I pulled up some product reviews, and this is just a product review like sentiment analysis thing. So like what you can do is very similar to what we just saw. A product. This particular model is built for looking at product reviews and ranking them as 5 stars or 4 stars in case that somebody might accidentally assign the wrong star value, which sometimes you see that it'll say like, this is a 4. They'll say it's a 1 star, although the review when you read it is like, actually that should be a 4 star. So you could definitely correct some of that stuff.
I have accidentally done that. Unfortunately, I realized it, so I caught it and corrected my star rating. But yeah, I was actually, and again, I'm so glad I caught it because it was an Uber driver, right? I accidentally just tapped the phone on the left side with my thumb because I'm left-handed, so I'll use my phone on the left side like that, and brought down their rating from the intended 5 star to the 1 star. And I just, like, you kind of moving fast doing it. I happened to catch that I did it, and I was so happy I did because I would have had this great verbal review with a 1 star on this poor driver. It would have been so sad.
Yeah. And this kind of thing can be used to kind of fix that problem because I've done that very thing. It's like, oh, oops, I didn't mean to give that 1 star. It's a 5-star review. And but the sentiment analysis is able to detect, oh, you really meant it's a 5-star review, not a 1-star review based on your comments. So things like that are very useful. This thing keeps popping up. And the reason why is because this is actually another, this brings up an interesting use case for AI. I built this internally, this little app that I wrote that I use for my house. So there's my, we're working on our garden, and my wife is going to the car and so on. So this is part of my security thing, but I built like a homemade security system using AI, and it's doing a lot of that object detection stuff, but I'm streaming all the cameras from all my cameras in my house back to a central location and doing that. And it just sends me these push notifications every time somebody is detected. That's why those pop-ups keep happening. I should probably silence those, but that's another use case there. I'm not going to get into that one, but it's just fun to look at. I want to show 2 more though. Let's before we're out of time here, that are a little bit more, I guess, robust. These all have been running in the browser, and these are, I guess, the more typical ones that you would see with things like retrieval augmented generation, and these are actually using open source as well. I built this app to do some fun stuff with AI for resume search assistant. And I'm not that this is something I did this more as a demo to show how you can use AI in the cloud as well as use it on-prem. So I have a machine sitting over my shoulder. In fact, I can rejoin. I think I'm all done with my my chats here. So let me re-enable my camera here. Oh no, hang on. Let's see. I'm not going to block my camera. Allowed. Okay, I'm going to try to get my camera back on. And then I can rejoin now. But anyway, as with the camera, but this particular app right here, it basically allows you to do research for a candidate and do analysis using local resources only. So I have, this is my prompt here that I'm going to send into this thing. And I have, oops, that's not what I want. Forward. I have sitting over my shoulder. That's why I wanted to turn my computer on, camera on, but apparently it's not working because I disabled it. I sabotaged myself.
Oh wait, it's me. I turned off your camera. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Is that it?
Oh wait, no, it's not.
Let me see if it's my. Let me see if it's allowed. It's allowed. Let's see. Microphone is allowed sound. Well, that's not that important. But the idea is that I have a computer that's sitting over my shoulder right now where I built a machine that does AI in my house. And it runs an LLM on it. And in fact, I have a couple of LLMs that I can swap between. But it's running Gemma, which is a derivative of Gemini from Google. It's open source, so if you want to get it. And this is also using a vector database for the data source. And it's also using an embedding model in that vector database. So that's all running on a machine that's in my, like, literally sitting 5 feet behind me. So if I run this, I can actually, using Olama, which is, many people probably play with Olama at some level, but it's basically just a server that allows you to run LLMs and different models locally. And I built a machine for the purpose of running Olama, and then I use, I'm running Qdrant, which is an open source vector database that I stored all the data for this particular application in. And so behind the scenes, this is basically searching that local database after querying that AI machine over my shoulder, and then it's doing analysis on the resumes. And that actually ran really well this time.
I'll say I did the same thing. I got a machine specifically for Olama. I didn't do the local vector database thing. Maybe I should take a page out of your book and do that. That might make my life a little bit easier.
It's easy. Qdrin's super easy to set up. You could use the Milvis or any of the other ones like Postgres SQL with PG Vector works. You just have to read the documentation for each one. I'm using Qdrin because it's just easy to use.
How do you spell
it's purpose built, fast. Sorry.
How do you spell it?
QG. It's right here. You can QG this one right here.
Oh, Qdrin. Okay, I got it.
It's super easy to use. Like literally, it's a Docker container and a Docker run Qdrin basically, and it will set up that. And you have to map a path to a storage folder, or what have you. But you get it up and running, and it's got libraries for like JavaScript and C# and Python, whatever. And then you can build a little app like this. I just built I imported all these like resumes into that particular database using vectorized them all, and then use an embedding model to get an embedding to search against that database to do vector searches, and then it points me to a particular PDF. I then go grab the text out of the PDF and then build a prompt, send that to Olama using Gemma 3 billion, and it's actually able to produce a fairly sophisticated result just using a billion parameter LLM. So this one right here is the output from that. So it's pretty decent considering I'm running that on an RTX 2060. It's not even a high-end graphics card. So that particular model I'm running on an RTX 2060. If you have like a 4070 or a 5070 or even better than that, man, these things will fly. So you don't need a lot of hardware to make this happen. I'm running that as a fairly modest hardware, but it works, and it works great. And that's the great thing about it. You don't have to have a super high-end machine to do this. I built that machine, I think, for $200, and I had the GPU already. So you don't have to have. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say that's really the thing is that a lot of what is happening with AI, like on people's personal lives in the industry, it's like so costly. And so I like these examples because they're not, right. You're doing a really fair amount of stuff with a very minimal hardware footprint. And coming from I have an IoT background and a smart printer background, things that had less resources than a Raspberry Pi. I love software that can run with a small footprint.
Yeah, I do too. I'm big on minimalism. Like, to me, that's like the hallmark of like one of the hallmarks of good software. It's just like, what can you do to make this the most efficient software you can make it? Because again, IoT, right? Building embedded systems, building stuff for Raspberry Pis, building stuff for mobile. All that is like every byte counts, every iteration, every cycle, CPU cycle you can save matters. So yeah, you get that. And this is new. This is similar in that same vein. I just wanted to figure out how I could run LLMs locally. And of course, you have the big daddy things like this one right here. This is the agentic. This is just a prototype I built. I'm still working on this one. It's an agentic blogger. This is using agentic AI to write blogs, essentially, or help write blogs. I ran this example already, and I'm not going to run it again because we're almost up at the end of the hour. But basically, what this does is I tell it what I want to write about. So write me a blog post about how awesome open source is, right? And then it creates it does research. It has an agent that goes and does research online, pulls it back, uses that research then to write a blog post. And this is just all the output from it. So it's like, step 2 is a 3 complete. It drafts a blog post, and then there's the blog post itself. And then the last thing it does is it does SEO. We mentioned SEO earlier. I don't like doing SEO. So I wrote an agent that does SEO. So here's the title, here's the metadata, here's the keywords, here's the tags, here's all that fun stuff. And and it's all orchestrated using using agentic AI to do all that behind the scenes. Now I could do this using Olama. I just didn't do it for this particular example. I used Azure Foundry for that. So that one, I'm not going to run it again. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes for this whole thing to run from beginning to end. Since we're up against the hour, I'm not going to rerun it, but you kind of get the idea of the full scope of everything that you can do there.
That's really cool. I was just thinking about, I have I'm a coach at the Historical European Martial Arts Club that I practice at. And I was just thinking, like, oh man, we should totally make an agentic AI blogger help us put out regular blog posts to like drive club membership. Because it's just such a small club, it's such a small business, we can't afford to pay somebody to do it. But I can totally lend some hardware. I'm gonna hit you up for this code.
Oh yeah, again, this is rough code right now, but I'd gladly share it with you. It's all based on Azure Foundry, but it wouldn't be hard to adapt it to something like Olam, or you could even use I'm using Gemma for most of this stuff because Gemma is a small model, but you could use DeepSeek easily.
Yeah.
Use DeepSeek 7 billion, and you'll get better, richer content. And then the searching is probably also where it's getting a lot of the rich content as well. So you get a lot of that online like input into the blog post rather than just working with parametric memory that's embedded into the LLM. So yeah, combine those two, and you could definitely you can work on this code for sure. I mean, again, this is a rough prototype right now, but it's kind of getting at the idea of what my vision for this is it's something a little bit more robust. But for now, it's just something I'm playing with more than anything.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's all my demos. I could probably go on and on for hours, but that kind of gives you an idea of the breadth of kind of the things you can do. I ran stuff that would be like IoT, stuff that runs locally in the browser context. You could use that for mobile apps and so on. And then, of course, stuff that you can run on your own hardware that does. I am running a server, but I'm connecting to it. It's running in my house, and then of course you can run it in the cloud too. So the cloud is the default for most people, but you don't have to use the cloud. It's so accessible now. It's so great, and it's all open source. That's a great thing too.
Gotta love the open source. Awesome. Well, thank you, Blaize, so much for coming on and doing this. We always get to see really cool, fun projects when you are on the show. We'll have you back again, I'm sure, the next time I look at something you've done and I'm like, hey, come talk to us.
Sure.
As I do.
And maybe next time the gremlins would be today in the span of an hour, it's like, it's just, I don't know. I didn't make the sacrifice, to your point.
It's how it be sometimes, man. It's just how it be.
How it is. It do be that way, though. All right, friends. We are top of the hour, so we're going to say goodbye. I'm not sure exactly what we're doing in 2 weeks from now. There's a couple things potentially on the pipe. So you'll find out when we announce the episode on LinkedIn, because that's just how we roll right now. Until then, choose your technical debt wisely, and Johnny will do the stream ending magic he always does.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Peace.